Tonight, Senate postpones passage of the 2023 budget to December the 28th over what the lawmakers describe as problems discovered in the budget figures. Central Bank of Nigeria justifies a new cash withdrawal policy, says it's a well-thought-out policy that will benefit the country and not politically motivated. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says he will announce his preferred presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections in the coming days in January.
And on business news tonight, African Development Bank unveils new initiative to boost the continent's pharmaceutical sector.
On sports news tonight, history makers Morocco moved 17 places to the 11th spot in the world in the latest world rankings released today by FIFA.
And from the nation's capital, Nigerian military kills over 150 terrorists in the ongoing fight against insurgency in the northern part of the country.
And in international news from London, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Ukraine will never surrender in a defiant address to US lawmakers on his first foreign trip since Russia's invasion.
The Senate has postponed the passage of the 2023 budget till next Wednesday, December the 28th, because of what lawmakers describe as problems discovered in the budget. The Senate President Ahmed Lawan, who announced this during plenary today, says the Senate Committee on Appropriations had to begin the process of cleaning up the budget. According to him, that exercise was concluded yesterday, making it impossible to pass the budget as scheduled. Our correspondent Linda Akibe reports.
It's the last plenary session in the National Assembly before the Christmas holiday, and the Senate had slated Thursday, December 22nd, to pass the 2023 national budget. But this is not to be. The Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawan, announces that the budget will be passed next Wednesday, December 28th, because of inherent problems in the 2023 budget, which President Buhari submitted to the National Assembly. He did not, however, give details of what the problems were.
The main reason for this is because the appropriation bill came to the National Assembly with some problems. And when our committees on appropriation in the Senate and the House started to reconcile the figures of what we have done and what was presented, the problems became very obvious and they were not easy to deal with. And therefore, our committees had to start a process of cleaning up the bill first. That process, of course, also engaged the executive arm because the problem came from there. Was concluded yesterday, only yesterday.
President Buhari had sent a 19.76 trillion naira 2023 budget to the National Assembly in October for consideration and passage. The Senate devoted more than a month to holding budget defense sessions with heads of government ministries, departments and agencies. Immediately after plenary, the Senate Finance Committee holds an interactive session with heads of government agencies on the finance bill. The Minister of Finance explains that the bill has various policy areas geared towards tax equity reforms, climate change, job creation and economic growth.
In the area of tax equity reforms, we have provisions for combating tax evasion and aggressive tax planning, and also provisions for ensuring under-taxed or not tax sectors that to be brought into the tax net in line with excellent laws and regulations.
The finance bill also proposes that the income of all companies engaged in gaming and lottery businesses shall be taxable under the provisions of the Company Income Tax Act, which applies to all companies registered in Nigeria. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
And at the House of Representatives, there was no mention of the budget. Well, the lawmakers rather hosted the representative of the CBN governor, Mrs. Aisha Ahmed, who came to shed more light on the new cash withdrawal policy. The CBN deputy governor in charge of financial system stability told the lawmakers that the policy is well thought out with no political undertone. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
Lawmakers in the House of Representatives received the representative of the Central Bank Governor, Aisha Ahmed, who is in charge of financial system stability. Mrs. Aisha Ahmed is here to brief lawmakers on the new monetary policies of the Central Bank involving the redesign of the Naira notes and the cash withdrawal limits.
It is to reduce cash processing cost, cash minting cost, processing cost, the cost of destroying old notes, and the cost of moving the cash from place to place, the physical cost of protecting it. The data available to us shows that 94% of all transactions, cash transactions, fall below the 500,000 limit. And this includes in areas in the country that are predominantly cash, that are not part of the cashless policy. 82% of corporate transactions also are below this limit. What does this mean? It means that 94% of all individual transactions will not be affected.
Lawmakers questioned the proximity of the policies to the elections and why Parliament was not carried along in the processes leading up to the final decision.
We are about facing the general election.
Thank you.
And let me just re-echo one line. Are you not seeing it as an opportunity for the ruling party to reach out to opposition parties?
At no time do we make decisions based on any political considerations, and I think it's important that I understate that.
Is the CBN governor not aware of the provisions of the Act with regards to his statutory obligation to address the National Assembly semi-annually, that is 2 times minimum in a year?
If the CBN was aware of this provision of the law, how come the CBN, before even going public with this policy, did not brief the House?
We remain open to continue to engage and do better. When the House convenes these hearings, it is the responsibility of us to show up, and we look forward to you doing so.
Can the CBN tell Nigerians how much was printed out of this new currency? How much was printed?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to share that figure now, only because I want to give an accurate number.
Outside to the chamber, the House Committee Chairman on Defense appraises the interaction.
The policy is very good, we all agree with it, but the only issue we have is with the timing. She also sort of said that Nigeria has 60 million BVNs, right? Population of 200 million. What happens to the people who don't have BVN?
It is not clear what position the House will take after this interaction, considering that it had asked the CBN to suspend the cash withdrawal policy. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
To politics now. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says he will reveal his choice of presidential candidate in a matter of days come January. Governor Wike, who is one of the G5 governors within the People's Democratic Party, says he will campaign across the country for that candidate whom he pitches his tent with. He was speaking at the commissioning of a flyover in the state.
From January next year, I will campaign to my people whom they will vote for. I will campaign to my people whom they will vote for. So all of you who have been in suspense, who have been saying all kinds of things, abusing me, wait. January has come. January has come. Not only will I tell them where they will vote, I will move from state to state and why they should vote for the people I think they should vote for. Nothing will happen. So all of you appearing on television, abusing me, don't waste your saliva again. January is a come. January is a come. So don't waste your saliva. Don't be going on whatever you call your platform. All those of you who are telling Nigerians, you used to have 40 shoes, you have to have 50 wristwatches. Time has come to convert those shoes and wristwatches to vote. Not so. Not so. It's not to be on the podium and raise your shoe high and raise your wristwatch high. Time has come to convert it to vote. Those of you who have not been stable, you move from PDP to here. You move from here back to PDP. Those of you who made campaign in 2015 telling Nigerians if they vote for PDP, they are voting for insurgency. If they vote for PDP, they are voting for corruption. Wait, all of us will reply. We'll tell Nigerians, this thing you said, how far? What is this stand now? Is it the same PDP or a new PDP?
Well, elsewhere, the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Bola Tinubu, has been meeting with the business community in Lagos State to share his plans if he's elected president. Senator Tinubu, in company of the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and other party leaders, met with professionals in the private sector to also get their opinions on his manifesto.
This is not a political rally, but a conversation between like minds in the business industry and the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Bola Tinubu. Business Forward Lunch with Ashwaju is an initiative put together by young business professionals with the aim of fostering growth within the business landscape.
What we therefore expect from you here today is a feedback and your input. Your feedback on our ideas and plans, and your input to enrich our policy horizon, given the vantage positions that you all occupy as leaders in your respective sectors.
Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who speaks from experience, attributes the recent success of the Blue Line Rail project to the vision of the former governor of the state.
We set up that first-in-class, a quasi-public sector office called Lamata, which was his brainchild, which I had the opportunity as a young man to help create and formulate at that time. And the success that everybody is saying, a blue line, a red line, Mr. Governor, today, which I take, right, birthed with an idea of our flag bearer way back then.
This cross-section of representatives from key sectors of the economy, such as insurance, technology, oil and gas, amongst others, are given a seat at the table to give their feedback and contributions to the party's manifesto that had been released prior to the event.
It will be useful to know what's the intention in terms of that.
And one by one, they make their submissions.
Your Excellencies are those who can speak to Mr. President, for example, and encourage him to assent to the copyright bill.
Looking at some of the sources of money that we subsidize other things and diverting them to healthcare, as well as looking for new sources of money like the 1% of PAT and the airtime.
Lagos State has the largest rice mill. We can partner with them and crash the price of rice to 10,000 naira. That will affect the ordinary man on the street.
After listening to the various contributions, the APC flag bearer gives his take and tells the group what to expect if he becomes the nation's president.
I've listened to you. I think after that, what I intend doing is just to thank you, create a committee out of you, compile all your ideas, couple you into circuit breakers, and I promise I will do it if I get elected.
As the elections inches closer, there will be more engagements like this, where the candidates of the various political parties can sell their agenda to Nigerians.
In part two, after the break, Labour Party presidential candidate campaigns in River State, just as the governorship candidate in Abia State, Alex Otti, canvasses support for him at a stakeholder summit in Enugu. But that's in a moment. Do stay with us.
This is what they call 21st century. When my customer say I want to use POS, I will just bring out my phone, open the application, press this code. I don't have anyone that's using POS anymore.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television. A reminder of our main stories. Senate postpones passage of the 2023 budget to December the 28th over what the Senate President describes as problems discovered in the appropriation document. Central Bank of Nigeria justifies a new cash withdrawal policy, says it's a well-thought-out policy that will benefit the country without any political undertone. River State Governor Nyesom Wike says he will announce his preferred presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections in January. And on the international scene, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country will never surrender to Russia in his address to the U.S. Congress. We'll continue with the campaigns, and for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, he's promising to increase funding for education at all levels and approve loans for students in tertiary institutions if elected president. Mr. Obi, who took his campaign to Port Harcourt, the River State capital today, also assured that youths and women will play a critical role in his administration.
Mr. Peter Obi is at the treasure base of the nation to mobilize support for his presidential bid. Making his way into the Liberation Stadium in Port Harcourt, he's welcomed by a crowd of supporters and musical duo P Square. He addresses the crowd on his expectations from them despite their continuous interjections.
When we come to rally, please put your phone on and listen to what we are promising. Tape it. So that tomorrow when we start, I start telling you that when we got there, they do us juju or they do us anything. So, I beg, make you come out from here. Make somebody, when they don't do juju, come do the work.
The national youth leader of the party also expresses how most young people feel about the situation in the country. After the rally, Mr. Peter Obi begins a road walk of several kilometers in the heart of the city. A member of his team speaks on the rationale behind the move.
About 10 kilometers, talking to the people, shaking hands, holding babies, and feeling the people. Now we're trying to repeat the same thing in the evening. And we challenge every other person who is running to come and do the same. And really feel the people, touch the people, and serve the people.
We're not going to do that.
Earlier in the day, Mr. Peter Obi had met youth in a town hall, promising them strategic positions in his government. He also met with the State Council of Traditional Rulers to appeal for their support.
And it's a shot in the arm for the Labour Party presidential flag bearer, this time from the governorship candidate of his party in Abia State, Mr. Alex Otti, who says Mr. Peter Obi remains the best option to address the challenges confronting the country. Mr. Oti was speaking during a one-day Southeast Stakeholders Summit in Enugu.
Candidates of Labour Party contesting elections in all the Southeast states, members of the National Working Committee of the Labour Party, as well as party supporters, gather for a one-day Stakeholders Summit in Enugu. They turned out in large numbers for the summit as proceedings for the event gradually get underway. Labour Party governorship candidate in Abia State, Alex Oti, speaks to the ambition of the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, saying that the ambition of the former governor of Anambra State is no longer an Igbo project.
Let us see Peter Obi project not as a Southeastern project, not as an Igbo project, but this is a Nigerian project. We are in a situation where if we do not elect Peter Obi, we will be in deep soup. Our debt profile today is about 104 billion naira.
In his address, the local organizing chairman, Chidozie Ezeugu, said Nigeria's economy has completely crashed, noting that insecurity like kidnapping, among others, are now the order of the day.
We are living in a hard time where people look at their fellow human being to make money. Insecurity, kidnapping, terrorism, and some people are somewhere benefiting from it. As if to say they don't know. But I believe that a Southeastern president, Southeast presidential candidate, our brother Peter Obi, will put a smile on the face of Nigeria. Give him a trial. He has what it takes among all the contestants. Is it in terms of energy, intellectual capacity? He has it.
He gives assurances that if elected in 2023, Peter Obi will put smiles on the faces of Nigerians because he has all it takes to deliver on the job.
Well, let's now head over to our Abuja studio where Terry Kumi is sitting by with more stories on the news at 10. Good evening, Terry. So you are heavy on security stories.
Oh, yes, I am, Coyote. Good evening. Let's begin with this one. At least 150 terrorists have been killed by troops of the Nigerian military in various operations across the northern region of the country in the last 3 weeks. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Danmadami, disclosed this during the bi-weekly briefing at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. He says about 100 terrorists, including logistics suppliers, collaborators and spies of Boko Haram and the Islamic State West African Province, have also been arrested. Our correspondent Emperor Simon reports.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Danmadami, is here to brief journalists on the activities of the armed forces in the last 3 weeks across the various operations.
Who continue to spy.
He begins with the northern region.
Troops neutralized 103 terrorists, apprehended 4 terrorist commanders, arrested 12 Boko Haram terrorists, logistics supplier, and 2 terrorist collaborators, as well as 4 terrorist spies. Troops of Operation Hardened Daji in the north and the west zone of the country equally neutralized 27 terrorists, arrested 26 suspected terrorists, and rescued 35 abducted civilians.
The south is next.
Within a week in review, troops of Operation Delta Safe in the conduct of Operation Octopus Grip discovered and destroyed 57 illegal refinery sites, 953 cooking ovens, 68 wooden boats, 172 storage tanks, 194 dugout pits, and 3 outboard engines, while 21 oil taps and pipeline vandals were apprehended.
On the recent airstrike in Zamfara State that left several terrorists killed, the Defense Headquarters says it is investigating allegations of possible collateral damages.
It's our responsibility to protect lives and properties of Nigerians, and not for us to come and start killing them.
Clarifications are also made on the allegation that some suspected military personnel attacked Eyamufu community in Enugu State.
The issue of our accoutrements, our uniform being in the hands of criminals is what we deal with every day. And we will not shy away from our responsibility to do our utmost to remove articles of violence from the hands of those who are not authorized to carry them, the criminals. For those who may have attacked Ahamufu, definitely the security men in the southeast are not sleeping. They will be fished out and they will properly be dealt.
The defense headquarters is also assuring the citizens of a peaceful Christmas and New Year celebrations. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
We're still on security. The police in Zamfara State say they have killed at least 11 bandits and recovered some arms belonging to the bandits who ambushed a truck conveying 2 Chinese nationals and their police escort while on their way to assess an ongoing project in Maradun local government area of the state. A statement by the spokesperson of the police, Mohammed Shehu, says the victims who sustained gunshot wounds were taken to the Federal Medical Center Gusau for treatment, but one of the Chinese nationals named Fan Yu was later confirmed dead. The statement further says that in a related development on the same day, police tactical operatives deployed along Gusau-Tsafe-Yankara Road received tip-off about a plan to block the highway and kidnap commuters near Kucheri village. According to Mr. Shehu, the operatives repelled the planned attack while the terrorists fled back into the forest. Still ahead on the news at 10, African Development Bank unveils new initiative to boost the continent's pharmaceutical sector. That's on Business News. Please join us again. So the news at 10 coming to you live from Channels Television. The Oyo State Police Command has arrested suspected killers of a US-based hotelier, Benga Owolabi, and a student of the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology of Bomosho, Rachel Okbadili. The command has also arrested the suspected masterminds of a series of kidnappings along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Parading the suspects at the command headquarters, Eleye-Ibadan. Police spokesman in the state, Femi Osifeso, says the command will not rest until all criminals get the message that the state is not a safe haven for them.
The Oyo State Police Command, in a technological intelligence-aided operation, aided with necessary support from Amotekun, that is the Oyo State Security Network, and other communal partners, apprehended the duo of Babangida Buhari, Awalu, and Kabiru Aliyu, both commercial motorcyclists and couriers for the kidnap syndicates, while retrieving the exchange money for other members of the syndicate around Ojo area in Ibadan.
President Muhammadu Buhari has re-echoed his administration's commitment to improving the welfare of officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force for effective policing. President Buhari, who today received the 2021 audited report and the 2023 budget proposal of the Police Service Commission, noted that his administration has made the welfare of the police a priority, just as police reforms remain a sacred duty. While assuring the acting chairman that their request would be considered, President Buhari said that dwindling resources arising from falling crude oil price and local production posed a major challenge which the present administration had to contend with. And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Coyote.
Well, thanks a lot, Terry. Well, let's talk infrastructure now. Now, while the Rivers State Governor's comment about the unveiling of his preferred presidential candidate remains prominent, the event in which he made that statement is also quite significant, as he commissioned the 10th flyover built by his administration. According to Governor Wike, the project, which is situated at the junction between Rumorusi and Delimbu communities along the East-West Road in Obiakwa local government area of Rivers State, is to ease traffic for road users along that axis.
CFA piles
marked for effective traffic control and dotted with street lights is the 10th flyover project of the checklist of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State in about 4 years. It's 820 meters long and constructed across the East-West Road at the junction between Rumokrishi and Elingbo communities in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State.
Your Excellency, we have a total of 176 800 millimeter diameter continuous flight auger piles driven to an average depth of between 19 and 21 meters to the point of refusal or point of resistance, if you like.
Governor Nyesom Wike describes his feat in delivering on capital-intensive projects as unprecedented in Nigeria's history.
From 2019 till now, we have completed 10 of these projects and we have commissioned 10 of it. By the grace of God, before the election next year, God will help us to commission the 11th and the 12th flyovers. Our language, vote to buy in here is give me project. Do you understand me? Vote to buy in here is what? Give me project. Give me good governance. Give me security. Pay pensioners. Pay gratuities. The way you do that, come and take our vote. Abla. Use of the people of this area and for humanity. In the name of God the Father.
This new addition will also ease traffic for people traveling to the Rivers Southeast Senatorial District and the southeast part of the country through Abia State.
Well, Christmas is around the corner, and as expected, some Nigerians are already traveling to celebrate the Yuletide with their family and friends outside Lagos. Well, the excitement of uniting with loved ones during this year's festive season is, however, being hampered by economic difficulties. The unending cycle of fuel scarcity leading to a hike in transport fares and unsecure roads top the list of factors responsible for the low turnout of travelers. Well, Channels Television visited some of the motor parks in Lagos. And here's the situation.
A busy sight on the outbound section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, especially in the early hours of the day, suggests that many are already leaving Lagos to other parts of the country for the Yuletide celebrations. But the outlook at Jibowu, one of the major hubs for interstate road travel, suggests otherwise. Patronage of transport companies and influx of travelers often noticed are low.
By this time last year, the numbers of people who want to travel is small, but this time it has reduced drastically. So I think it's because maybe one, the security, and two, maybe the economic situation. During this kind of season, it takes at least 20 minutes. It should be full because the passengers, the numbers of people coming are more. But right now, you can see people are still waiting. The time is, the sun is out and passengers are not coming.
The same situation applies to Owena Motor Park in Ojota. The activities here are skeletal, with only few passengers on ground.
We've been here since 6:30. This is the second bus leaving the park this month. Like, it will leave about 8:39, you know. And I think there's another one loading. But we're just going to our village, to our town all the time, not minding the expenses and not minding the situation. Even the kidnappers will never stop us because we know how to handle them.
Compared to the previous years, by now a lot of people will have been on transit. But you can see the empty buses in there. So that's to tell you that the turnout is so low. So because the early in the morning, like 5, 6, it was relative as this. So people are not really traveling.
While some travelers have resolved to stay back in the cities to celebrate quietly, others are determined to travel home against all odds.
Well, it's time for business news on the news at 10. Here's Willie Bung.
Thanks, Coyote. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has introduced a new initiative that will boost the capacity of the continent's pharmaceutical sector. The FDB made this known as it unveiled the African Pharmaceutical Technology Foundation at the Second International Conference on Public Health in Africa. According to the Development Bank, the continent imports more than 70% of the medicines at an estimated cost of $14 billion annually. The foundation, however, would change the game to enable African countries develop their capacity to manufacture pharmaceutical products all along the value chain, such as drugs, vaccines, diagnostics, and therapeutics. The foundation, located in Kigali, Rwanda, is expected to commence operations in early 2023. Now, the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Aisha Ahmed, says 500 million naira notes will have been ordered and will be printed soon. Mrs. Ahmed made this known today before members of the House of Representatives during the plenary session. Now, since the new notes went into circulation on December the 5th, there have been complaints of insufficient quantities available at deposit money banks. Now to the equities markets, where markets have sustained its winning streak, snapping 4 days of gains in the penultimate trading week for the month of December. John Mekwa has the details.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Another close shave at the NGX today, as indicated by the marginal gain on the all-share index. That's it, 0.05%. Very close and slim at 49,499.43, and the market cap 26.961 trillion naira. But at least that still keeps the bull here. Well, the total market value gained 13 billion naira as the banks led trade by volume. FBN Holding was #1 on that list, trading 29 million. And it gained today. It gained 45 kobo on its share price to close at 1 naira 55 kobo. Sterling Bank is next at 18 million. Sterling Bank, however, lost. It lost 2 kobo to close at 1 naira 36 kobo. Nigerian Breweries found its way there. It's not just about the banking. It traded 10.5 million at the close of trade. Now, the sectors reflect this trade, going from banking, which closed down 0.11%. Now, this indicates that a lot of that volume may have been sell-off. And then to the consumer goods, barely escaped at 0.04% at the close of trade. Oil and gas is still recovering, 0.26 at the close of trade today. One more trading day before Christmas. Will Santa visit the trading floor? We will see tomorrow. That's the Stock Market Report. I'm John Mekwa. Back to you.
And that's it on Business News. It's back to Kayode for the rest of the news at 10.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Well, thanks, Will. The Kremlin has criticized Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to the United States, accusing the U.S. of fighting an indirect war against Russia. Responding to the visit, the Russian ambassador to the United States, Anatoly Antonov, described President Biden's pledge of $1.85 billion of military aid for Ukraine, which President Zelensky welcomed in his address to Congress, as provocative actions which would lead to escalation with severe consequences. Simon Pusey has more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Ukraine will never surrender in a defiant address to US lawmakers on his first foreign trip since Russia's invasion.
The President of Ukraine.
He was given a hero's welcome as he entered Congress.
It's a great honor for me to be
at the US Congress and speak to you and all Americans.
In a speech, Mr. Zelensky said US military aid to Ukraine was not charity, but an investment in security for the future.
Scenarios, Ukraine didn't fall. Ukraine is alive and kicking.
He was interrupted by 17 standing ovations during the session, before presenting the Ukrainian flag signed by frontline soldiers to Congress. Afterwards, President Biden pledged a new $2 billion aid package and vowed to stick by Ukraine for as long as it takes.
So I don't see any reason to believe there will be any lessening of support. And as we reach out to our NATO allies, our Secretary of Defense and our Secretary of State, we get continued support, not only there, but also from around the world, from Japan and many other countries as well. So I feel very good about the solidarity of support for Ukraine.
A Russian former deputy prime minister has been injured after shelling hit a hotel in Russian-controlled area of eastern Ukraine. Dmitry Rogozin, who also once led the space agency, said he was hit above the shoulder blade. Another person is said to have been killed in the attack on the outskirts of Donetsk city. Mr. Rogozin is widely known for his anti-Western rhetoric and his support for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Forecasters say a major winter storm sweeping the US this week may bring the coldest Christmas in 4 decades to parts of the country. The so-called once-in-a-generation cold snap, which began in the Pacific Northwest on Tuesday before churning east, will become what's known as a bomb cycle by Friday. The conditions are already causing accidents and travel disruption. Here, hundreds of passengers crowded the terminal in Chicago's Midway Airport. More than 90 million people are under winter weather alerts across 37 states. About 80% of the nation is set to experience sub-zero temperatures, including places as far south as Texas. Named Winter Storm Elliott, the Arctic blast is expected to deliver the coldest Christmas to the Midwest since the late 1980s. The Taliban have arrested 5 women taking part in a protest in the Afghan capital Kabul against the ban on women attending universities. A group of women marched near Kabul University chanting either everyone or no one and one for all. Protests are also understood to have taken place in the Takhar province. Guards stopped hundreds of women from entering universities on Wednesday, a day after the ban was announced. The moment a train struck a vehicle carrying a huge concrete beam causing a derailment has been caught on camera in Tennessee.
Oh no. What a mess.
Dramatic video captured by another driver shows the train blaring its horn before striking the truck. Local media reported the derailment of 3 locomotives and 10 cars. Officials say 2 people suffered minor injuries. Oh. And a Polish military railway company has built gingerbread cities as sets for Christmas this year, with buildings decorated in coloured icing and trains made of chocolate. The cities come complete with churches, houses, recreations of the medieval town halls, and other buildings such as a zoo and a castle. Each one required more than 300 eggs and 360 kilograms of sugar, as well as hundreds of kilograms of honey and spices. The CEO said the gingerbread city there was fully edible, and visitors had already begun nibbling away at it. The cities also feature fairy tale designs inspired by the Brothers Grimm, the 2019 winner of an international cake decorating competition. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Now, the president of the Confederation of African Football, Mr. Patrice Motsepe, believes Nigeria has what it takes to reach the final of the World Cup and possibly win it. Mr. Motsepe told Channels Television in Johannesburg, South Africa, that the continent's football ruling body actually felt the absence of the 3-time African champions in Qatar.
I was saying to many of my friends that for me to go to a World Cup and Nigeria is not there, it's there's something significantly for us who know the history of Nigerian football, but also what Nigeria means for us in the continent. So I want to tell you, I am absolutely confident. The talent, the God-given skills, the history of Nigerian football. Nigeria is one of those countries that has the potential not just to go to the semi-finals, not just to go to the finals, but to win the World Cup.
We can't wait for that to happen. But moving on, Morocco's fourth place finish at the 2022 FIFA World Cup is already having a positive effect on the team as the Atlas Lions moved 17 places up to the 11th spot in the latest FIFA World Ranking released earlier today. Morocco are now the highest-ranked African team, upstaging Senegal. Overall, Morocco moved to 11th from 22nd in October. On the third spot is Tunisia, who are ranked 30th in the world. The indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who recorded a shocking 1-0 win against Brazil in the group phase of the World Cup, are fourth in the continent and 33rd in the world. Three-time African champions Nigeria completes the continent's top five. Meanwhile, Brazil will end the year as the best-playing nation in the world. Lionel Messi's Argentina, who lifted the trophy in Qatar on Sunday, move up one place to the second spot, displacing France. The runners-up, France, are now third, with Belgium dropping to fourth. The three Lions of England are in fifth spot. The Netherlands are in sixth spot, while bronze medalists moved from 12th to 7th. That's Italy, Portugal, and Spain complete the world's top 10. In tennis, the Lagos State government and the family of late Molade Okoya Thomas have changed the name of the annual Asojuoba Table Tennis Cup. The oldest competition will now be called Molade Okoya Thomas Cup, beginning from the 54th edition, which holds from Tuesday, December the 27th to Friday, December the 30th at the Teslim Balogum Stadium in Surulere. Head of the family, Deji Okoya Thomas, explained that former traditional title held by his father while he was alive has been given to another person since his death.
We need to honor the new recipient of the title. It's a title that was given to him, and it was the feeling he had from being given a title that brought about the birth of this competition. But we must give respect to the new Asojuoba of Lagos, so that there is no confusion and ambiguity. And so in so doing, we've decided that let's totally leave the name out of the competition, so that the focus will be on the initiator of the competition, which was our late father.
And that's it on Sports News. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Matthias. It's back to Kaede with the wrap of the news at 10. Well, thanks a lot, Victor. On a programming note, we would like to inform our viewers that we will be rejoining the Ebonyi State Award night right after the news at 10 on our DSTV platform. And the main news again. The Senate has postponed the passage of the 2023 budget to December the 28th over what the Senate President described as problems discovered in the document. Senator Ahmed Lawan, during plenary, said the Appropriation Committee has already begun the process of cleaning up the budget. And that's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I am Kaede Okikilu. Good night.